Good morning, students. In the last class we discussed try catch blocks and multiple catch statements also. So in this class I am going to talk about the finally statement. So in this class I am going to talk about finally. So what is finally? Java provides another statement. Java provides another statement is called finally statements. In Java, finally is a keyword. In Java, finally is a keyword. So in Java, finally is a keyword. According to the naming rules, keyword first letter should start with lowercase letter. So here, wherever you can use finally in our programming, so F should start with lowercase letter. F should start with lowercase letter because finally is the keyword. So in the last class we covered try and catch blocks. So in Java, how to handle the exceptions? By using try and catch block. Block means group of statements. Block means group of statements. For example, finally. So here within the blocks, writing the statements. Within the block, writing the statements. It is a block. Block means group of statements. So here we can handle the exceptions. Try and catch blocks is there. But why do we need finally block? Okay. So here finally block would always executing irrespective of the exceptions. So it always executing irrespective of the exception. If an exception occur, if an exception may not occur, but finally block always executing irrespective of the exceptions. But try block, so where try block would be executing? Try block would be executing if an exception did not occur. Catch block would be executing if an exception occur. But finally block would always executing irrespective of the exception. If an exception may occur in the try block, if an exception may not occur in the try block, finally block always executing irrespective of the exceptions. That is the importance of finally block in Java programming language. So here, we have try and catch blocks to handle the exceptions. We have try and catch blocks to handle the exceptions. For example, try statements, catch, exception class, reference and statements. Last class we have seen these try and catch blocks. Here what is the importance of try block and what is the importance of catch block? Already I told you. So here try block identifies the exception. Try block identifies the exception and a catch block handles the exceptions. Try identifies the exception and a catch handles the exception. Suppose as a programmer, suppose I am developing one program, I am writing one program. So I am the programmer. So I am observing the statements in our program. So I am observing the statements. For example, if there is any statement raising an exceptions, those statements we can write inside the try block. Because try handles the exception. Try identifies the exception. Whenever an exception is identified, try suspends the execution of try block and transfer an identified exception to catch block. So what is the importance of catch block? So catch block will receive an identified exception from try block and creates an exception object representing corresponding exception class and it handles the exception. Simply we can say as try identifies the exception and catch handles the exceptions. So here try block would be executing if an exception did not occur. If an exception did not occur, which block executing? Try block. Suppose if an exception occurs, which block would be executing? Catch block. So next one, suppose in which situations finally block would always executing? Finally block will be executing if an exception may occur in the try block, may not occur in the try block. Finally block always executing irrespective of the exceptions. Okay, so here try block would be executing if an exception did not occur. Catch block would be executing if an exception occurred. But finally block always executing irrespective of the exception. If an exception may occur in the try block, if an exception may not occur in the try block, always finally block would always executing. What are the statements we have written inside the finally block? Those statements could be executing. Those statements could be executing. So it is the importance of finally block. So finally block we have two syntaxes. So finally block we have two syntaxes. First syntax, finally block we have two syntaxes. So here syntax 1, try statements. After try we have writing finally block. So in Java it is possible after try simply we have writing finally block. After try we have written finally block. So it is one syntax of finally block. So here try block, after try directly we have write finally block. Next another syntax of finally block is try statements. Next one catch. Exception class. Reference statements. After that finally block. If you have two syntaxes, first syntax is directly after try block we have write finally blocks. Next it is another syntax. It is syntax number 2. So try block, try followed by catch block. So if followed by else block and try followed by catch block, try identifies the exception, catch handles the exception. After catch, we have write the finally statements. At a time only one exception could be identified inside the try block. So we have write number of statements. At a time only one exception identified inside the try block. Whenever an exception occurs, try suspends the execution of try block and transfer an identified exception to the catch block. So catch handles the exception. But if an exception may not occur in the try block, finally block always executing irrespective of the exception. That is the importance of finally block. It is the second syntax of finally block. So one important point of finally block is always it should be the last statement in the try catch hierarchy. So always it should be the last statement in the try catch hierarchy. Okay, so already you have here two keywords, final, finalize and finally. So what is the difference between final and finally? So what is the difference between final and finally? Already I told you final in the inheritance concept. Now I am explaining finally keyword. In interview point of view, this difference is very important. So in future interviewer may ask what is the difference between finally and finally. You can justify. So here what is final? Finally is a keyword and finally is a keyword. Both are the keyword. But final we can apply final keyword with respect to the variable, with respect to the method and with respect to the class. So here a variable can be defined as a final variable. It's going to get act as constants in Java. So suppose here I am defining one variable name. Suppose final int x equal to 20. Here x holds 20 value. It is fixed. It acts as constants in Java. So we never change final variable value. Next one, final may applicable with respect to the method also. Suppose here I am defining final void display. So a method can be defined as final method. So the method cannot be overridden into its subclasses. So any method can be defined as a final method. That method cannot be overridden into the subclasses. Next one, a class can be declared as a final. Suppose a class, final class A. A class can be declared as a final. The class cannot get extended into other classes because final classes cannot have subclasses. Final classes have only superclasses. It cannot have subclasses. This is a final keyword. Finally means we can use finally using exceptions concept. In the try-catch hierarchy, finally should always be last statement in the try-catch hierarchy. We have two syntaxes. After try directly we have write the finally block, and after try and catch we have write the finally block. So here what is the importance of finally block is if an exception may occur in the try block, may not occur in the try block, always executing finally block, always executing irrespective of the exception. That is the importance of finally block. Next one, finalize. So finalize we can use in garbage collections concept. Finalize keyword we can use in garbage collection concept. So we clean up all the resources, unnecessary memory, unnecessary data, and it free up the memory and it allocates free memory into the new object. It clean up all the resources. It acts as a system background and it automatically deletes unnecessary memory and it allocates the memory. So that is the difference between finally and finalize. So in interview point of view, these difference is very important. In the final year, you will go to any interview. Interviewer may ask these type of questions, differentiate finally and finalize. It is very important. So here I will explain with respect to the programming. So here working with finally, first program. Working with finally. If an exception did not occur. Working with finally. Where an exception did not occur. Does not occur. An exception does not occur. Here let us see the program. Working with the finally block where an exception does not occur. So here let us see the programming. So here I am writing the programming. First here I am defining one class. So here class name. Class name. Simply I am writing finally block. After class, I am writing main method. Already you know that main method have three keywords: public, static, void, main. Public static void main string aux array. Public static void main string aux array. After main, we can open the curly brace. Okay, so here as a programmer we can write in the program. So we can observe the statements. If any statement raises the exceptions, those statement we can write inside the try block. So after main method, I am defining three variables. Int x equal to 25, y equal to int x equal to 25, comma y equal to 5. After that, I am using try block. Suppose int result equal to x by y. So here I am placing this statement as a try block. After try block, so I am writing catch block. After try block, I am writing catch block. Here catch. Null pointer exception. E. Null pointer exception E. E is the reference. I am writing one SOP statement. System dot out dot println invalid reference. Invalid reference. After that, here I am closing catch block body. After that, here I am closing catch block body. Next, after that, I am writing finally block. After that, I am writing finally block. Finally, I am writing two system dot out dot println statements. System dot out dot println. It is finally block. It is finally block. It is finally block. I am writing one more SOP statement here. System dot out dot println. System dot out dot println. End of the program. Simply I am writing end of the program. Here I am closing final block body and the main method body. Main method body and class body. Main method body and the class body. So here let us see the programming. So working with finally where an exception does not occur. So here let us see the programming. So here I am defining two variables x equal to 25, y equal to 5. So in the try block, int result equal to x by y. So int result equal to x by y. So here I am writing int result equal to x by y. So x equal to 25, y equal to 5. 25 by 5. 25 by 5. How much? 5. Result equal to 5. Result equal to 5. So here int result equal to 5. So it is a valid. So if an exception did not occur in the try block, so where try block would be executing? If an exception did not occur, which block would be executing? Try block would be executing. So on the console it will display result equal to 5. Suppose if an exception occurs in the try block, immediately it transfers to the catch block. The catch block would be executing that handles the exceptions. But finally block always executing irrespective of the exception. If an exception may occur in the try block, may not occur in the try block, finally block always executing irrespective of the exceptions. So here if an exception did not occur, so here if an exception did not occur, it is a valid. 25 by 5 equal to 5, it is valid. So our computer understand this statement. So if an exception did not occur, try block would be executing. So after that, so here I am writing it is a finally block and end of the program. So if an exception may occur in the try block, may not occur in the try block, finally block always executing irrespective of the exception. So here if you compile and run this program, what is the output you have getting? So result equal to 5. So in this program result equal to 5. So finally block always executing. So it will print. So it is a finally block. It is a finally block. It is a finally block and end of the program. And end of the program. And end of the program. End of the program. So it is the output we have getting after compiling and run this program. Okay. So next let us see the program. So working with a finally block. If an exception occur in the try block and it is handled. Let us see the program. So next program. Working with the finally block. If an exception occurs in the try block and it is handled properly. So here let us see the program. Here I am defining one class. It is second program. Working with the finally. Working with the finally. Working with the finally. Where an exception occurs. Where an exception occurs. Where an exception occurs and handled. And handled. And handled. Here let us see the program. Here let us see the program. So here I am defining one class, finally block, finally demo. Class name can be any name, any valid variable name. After that, after class, I am defining main method, public static void main, public static void main, string ops array, public static void main, string ops array. After main, we can open the curly brace. Here I am defining three variables. Int a equal to 10, b equal to 5, and c equal to 5. So here I am writing one try block. So which statements we can place inside the try block? So if there is any chance of raising the exceptions, those statements we have write inside the try block. What is the functionality of try block? What is the importance of try block? It identifies the exception. So here try. Suppose here I am writing one statement. Int x equal to a by b minus c. Int x equal to a by b minus c. Here I am closing the try block. So int x equal to a by b minus c. So here a value 10, b by c 5 minus 5, 10 by 0. So 10 by 0 means infinity. So is there chance of raising the exception? If an exception occurs in the try block, so infinity has a human being we know, but our system does not understand the infinity. So it is a division by 0 exception. Suppose we can't write the try block, our program terminated abnormally in the middle of its execution. So we can avoid the abnormal termination in our programming. We can use try and catch blocks in our programming. So if an exception occurs in the try block, immediately it jumps to catch block. So here after try block, here I am writing catch block, catch arithmetic exception E. So within the catch block I am writing one SOP statement, system.out.println, division by 0 error, division by 0. I am closing catch block. So after that, so here I am writing finally block. Finally. So int y equal to a by b plus c. So here a equal to 10 by 5 plus 5, 10 by 10 equal to 1. So here I am writing one more SOP statement, end of the program. After that, semicolon. After that I am closing finally block and main method body and the class body. So here let us see the programming. So here try block. So try identifies the exception. If an exception occurs in the try block, immediately it transfers to the catch block. So here whenever an exception occurs in the try block, try suspends an execution of try block and transfers an identified exception to the catch block. What is the importance of catch block? The catch block will receive an identified exception from the try block and it creates an exception object and it will process the statement. So here catch block, it is an automatic exception, it handles. On the console it will print division by 0. If an exception occurs in the try block and it will handle the catch block properly. So but finally block always executing irrespective of the exception. If an exception may occurs in the try block, may not occurs in the try block, always finally block would be executing. So here int y equal to a by b plus c, y equal to 1, it will print y equal to 1. getting one SOP statement here only. System dot out dot println y equal to plus 1. Y equal to plus 1. So here y equal to 1. That's one. End of the program. End of the program. It will display the following output. Division by 0. Y equal to 1. And end of the program. So it is try, catch, and finally block. So finally, always executing irrespective of the exception. If an exception may occur in the try block, may not occur in the try block, always finally block would be executing. So one point related to the finally block is always we can write finally block. It should be the last statement in the try catch hierarchy. After try and catch block, we can write the finally block, and after try block, we can directly write the finally block. It is about finally block and finally statement. Next concept, throw one. Next concept, throw. So in exceptions, next concept is throw. Throw class. So throw is a keyword. Throw is a keyword. So throw is a keyword. So here, what is the functionality of throw keyword? The functionality of throw keyword is an explicitly raise an exception. The functionality of throw keyword is an explicitly raise an exception. Here, the functionality of throw keyword is an explicitly raise an exception. Is an explicitly raise an exception. Raise an exception. So throw is a keyword. According to the naming rules, first letter should start with lowercase letter. Here, what is the importance of throw keyword? It explicitly raise an exception. Actually, in our programming, if an exception occurs, it will transfer to the catch block. So whatever that would be done by JVM in our programming, so the same could also be done in our programming by using throw keyword. So the general form of throw keyword. So here the general form of throw keyword. The general form of throw keyword, throw, is as follows. What is the syntax of throw keyword? So throw, new throwable subclass. Throw new throwable subclass. Throw new throwable subclass. It is the syntax. It is the syntax of throw keyword. It is the syntax of throw keyword. So here I am explaining one more time. So here throw is a keyword, and according to the naming rules, keyword first letter should start with lowercase letter. Here, what is the importance of throw keyword? The functionality of throw keyword is an explicitly raise an exception, because explicitly raise an exception means, suppose in our programming, if an exception occurs, JVM will handle the exceptions by using catch blocks. So whatever that would be done by JVM implicitly in our programming, the same could also be done in our programming by using which statement? Throw statement, throw keyword. So if an exception occurs in the try block, immediately catch will handle the exceptions. So that would be done by JVM in our programming. So in our programming, JVM identifies the statements, JVM will execute the statements, JVM will process the statements. Whenever an exception occurs in the try block, immediately it will jump to the catch block, catch will handle the exceptions. But whatever that would be done by JVM in our programming, the same could also done in our programming by using which statement? Throw. By using which statement? By using which keyword? Throw. So it explicitly raise an exception. Whenever in our programming we can explicitly raise an exception, so on those situations we can use which statement? Throw. So what is the syntax of throw? Throw new throwable subclass. Throw new throwable subclass. Throwable is the class. So throwable is the class. Throwable is the class. Throwable is the class. It is the superclass for all the exceptions. Throwable is the class. In Java, all exceptions present in which package? Lang package. In Java, all exceptions present in Lang package. In Java, all exceptions present in Lang package. Already you know that Lang is the default package. In Java, what is the default package? Lang package. So, suppose if you write a small basic Java program also, all the required classes and interfaces present in Lang package. That's why Java, some people make Lang as the default package. So, what are the classes present in Lang package? Thread, exception, math, system, string. Those all are the classes present in Lang package. In Java, exception is a class. It is a predefined class. In Java, every class is a part of package. Exceptions is a part of which package? Lang package. So here, throwable is the superclass. Throwable is the superclass for all the exceptions here. Throwable is the superclass for all the exceptions. Here, exception and error. Exception and error. Exception and error. These two are subclasses. These two are subclasses of throwable class. These two are subclasses of throwable class. All the exception classes are the subclasses of throwable class. Exceptions and errors. These two are the subclasses of throwable. In Java, throwable is the superclass. All the exceptions are the subclasses of throwable class. Suppose arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, number format exception, array index out of bounds exception, array show exception, class not found exception, no such method definition exception, stack overflow exception. Those all are the subclass of which class? Throwable class. Those all are the subclass of throwable class. Throwable is the superclass for all the exception classes. Anything that is derived from throwable class. Throwable is the superclass. All the exception classes are the subclass of throwable. So here throw new throwable subclass. So here throw. So whenever we can explicitly raise an exception, that is the syntax. Throw new throwable subclass means any exception, arithmetic, null pointer, number format, or anything. Okay, so it is the throw. Here the functionality of throw is explicitly raise an exception. So in our programming, whatever that would be done by JVM in our programming, the same could also done in our programming by using throw keyboard. So it is the importance of throw keyboard. So here I want to explain with respect to the program. Example of throw. Example. Okay, so here first of all, I am defining class throw demo, this one. After that, main method, I am writing main method, public static void main, string aux array, public static void main string aux array. After main method, I am writing try block. So I am writing try block, right? So what is the syntax for explicitly raise an exception? Throw. If an exception occurs, there is a chance of raising the exceptions. Those statements we have to write in which block? Try block. So here throw new throwable subclass. Here throw new throwable subclass. Here I am writing null pointer exception. So exception data. Semicolon. So here I am closing try block. Here I am closing try block. So after that I am writing catch block. So catch null pointer exception catch null pointer exception E. Catch null pointer exception E. E is the reference of this exception. E is the reference of this exception. After that, within the catch block, I am writing one SOP statement. System.out.println. 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 E. E is the reference. E is the reference. So here I am closing it. Here I am closing the catch block. Here I am closing catch block. So within the catch block also we can writing one more statements. No problem at all. So after that I am writing finally block. So no problem. Finally is not a mandatory. So if you write the finally block, if you does not write the finally block, no problem. So here I am closing the class method body and main method body. Class method body and main method body. Let us see the programming. Here I am defining one class throws demo. That's my main method. So here whatever that would be done by JVM in our programming, the same could also done in our programming by using throws keyword, by using throw keyword. So throw new null pointer exception. Throw new null pointer exception. So here null pointer exception. Already you know that. So exception first N, P, E should start with uppercase letters. So after try followed by catch block, try identifies the exception and catch handles the exception. Here null pointer exception. So it handles the exception. So here system.out.println E. So here I am closing. So if you compare and run this program, so what is the output of this programming? So java.lang null pointer exception. Null pointer exception data. Exception data. So it is the importance of throw clause in Java exception. So whatever that would be done by JVM in our programming, the same could also done by using which statement? Throw class. Throw is the keyword. So the functionality of throw keyword is explicitly rise and exception. Okay, thank you.